Update. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad's ex that she could have been my mom if she didn't cheat on my dad? Original post. Let me describe my family a bit. I am the youngest of 4 children, by far the youngest. I have 2 older brothers and 1 older sister. My mom is my dad's second wife. From his first wife, I have an older half-sister who is 3 years older than my oldest full sibling. His first wife, his childhood friend, cheated on him way before, and after my dad made sure my half-sister was his, he divorced her. He met my mom, and a few years later, they tied a knot. The rest is history. My half-sister has always been welcome in our house. She gets along really well with all of us and even calls my mom auntie. Her mom, though, has always been a bit of a harpy. She hates my mom for many reasons outside of she stole my man. My mom is a retired fitness model and currently Pilates instructor, so she looks really good for her age, while she's more average and plump. She would always make snarky remarks like, "Oh, did you gain weight?" or "Are you pregnant again?" even though my mom never stopped taking care of herself. With me though, she dotes on me and calls me the son she never had. With my older siblings, she mostly just ignores them. So my half-sister is getting married and my dad and his ex agreed to split the cost of the wedding 50-50. My dad doesn't care about planning for the wedding, so he left it all to the ex and the bride. During one of our meet and greet dinners, my half-sister revealed that she also invited my dad's estranged brother and parents. I can still remember my dad shooting a glare of pure anger at her. I asked my mom later why he reacted like that. I never met my uncle or grandparents on my dad's side, but from how my mom spoke, my dad's ex cheated on him with his brother and his parents knew it for years before confessing. So my half-sister could have been my cousin or something if the sperm chase went wrong. My dad's ex was together with my dad's brother for a while after she and my dad divorced, but split soon after. And my dad refused to forgive his family for fooling him like that, and went no contact with them for 25 years. So back to the dinner. My dad asked in a very stern yet quiet voice why she would, and my half-sister said she wanted to make her wedding more meaningful by also having a family reunion, and her mother supported her. She told my dad to bury the hatchet, at least for her daughter. My dad said she didn't have any right to tell him how to act. On her way out, my dad's ex and I bumped into each other, and she commented to me how she hoped that I wouldn't have a chip on my shoulder like my dad does. If not for that, they could still be one whole happy family, she said. I didn't like her tone and reminded her that she was the one who cheated and broke the family. And I told her that she could have been my mom. The last part made her cry like crazy as she ran out of the house. My dad asked me what happened and I told him, and he just grunted. Did I go too far? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole. She constantly talks smack about your mom, makes a snarky comment about your dad, and you responded, "Oh well, play stupid games, win stupid prizes." I'm shocked that your dad is still going to the wedding though. How mature of him. Well, my dad is struggling with that at the moment. He really doesn't want to see his brother and parents because he says there are lines that family don't cross. I mean, honestly, I think he should have a conversation with your sister emphasizing that this would not be a family reunion. He hasn't talked to them in 25 years. I highly doubt 26 would be hard for him. If she can't respect that, then I totally understand him backing out physically. I sense the ex put this idea into her daughter's head, but daughter is an a-hole for going along with it. Not the a-hole and your sister is an idiot. 1. Weddings are not the place for reunions like this. Plus, your dad doesn't want to reunite. All she's doing is setting herself up for a wedding to be chaotic when your dad's family attempts to approach any of you guys, or when her mother, who loves drama, makes snarky/crude comments that involve them. The way I would ignore/be rude if any of my dad's family try to come up to me or make small talk after what they pulled. Ew. Your dad is better than me because I don't think I would even go. I'd have a serious conversation with half-sister about why she's choosing these people she barely knows, who's hurt her father so deeply over him. 2. All you did was tell the truth. Honestly, I would just stop engaging with her at all. Why even entertain her fake politeness with someone constantly disparaging your mother? Every time she makes one of her stupid comments, just stare blankly at her like she doesn't exist or doesn't matter. Guarantee that would tick her off even more. She enjoys the drama and attention. Give her absolutely nothing. Not a-hole. My sister is a bit of an airhead, to be honest. After the divorce, she more or less went back and forth between her mom and my dad. Now for the first update. Thank you so much for all your comments. I am glad that at least I wasn't being cruel. My dad's ex just bawled so much and suddenly that I thought I did something awful and I was worried. As of now, I don't really know what my dad is going to do. I know that my mom and dad are talking about it, but he really seems conflicted. I thought about asking him, but my oldest brother told me not to. He said that I had nothing to do with it, so I shouldn't bother him. My full siblings and I did just talk to my half-sibling about what she had done in our WhatsApp chat tonight. First, my full sister tore my half-sister a new one, calling all sorts of names, before my brother told her to stop or leave the chat. Then he asked her why she did what she did. Turns out that her idea of including a family reunion in her wedding was an idea from our paternal grandparents and her mom. Unlike myself and my full siblings, my half-sister regularly visited her grandparents and talked to them a lot about us. My grandparents apparently wanted to see us really bad, and her mom popped the idea. Then my second oldest brother said that while it was her wedding and she could invite whom she liked, she didn't take our father's feelings into account. There was a reason that he went no contact with them for all these years, and it wasn't up to her to try to fix burnt bridges. My half-sister then asked if Dad was going to pull money out of the wedding, and my sister sent a brutal message. "Is that the most important thing right now, you bleep?" I added that our father hasn't told us anything. My half-sister said that she shouldn't have even done this to begin with, and my sister commented, "You think?" She wondered if she couldn't send wedding invitations to her grandparents and uncle, but then her mom might pull her money. I sent the chat to my full siblings only chat. If Dad could fund the whole wedding, if that meant not inviting his brother and parents. My oldest brother told me to can it and don't bother Dad. She also asked how our dad has been, and I said that he is very conflicted and talking only to Mom about it. And then asked if her mom was okay since I made her cry. She said that her mom calmed down when they returned home. Apparently, they got into an argument when she called my dad a stubborn sob. To be honest, I think she is in a very tight spot. She can either piss off our dad or her mom. I don't know what my dad is going to do, and my oldest brother already reminded me twice that this wasn't my business. I honestly think Dad would be up for paying for the entire wedding if his estranged family didn't come. Of course, it's his money though, or maybe he is just so angry that he might pull out altogether. Edit: I didn't post the entire conversation that my full siblings and I had with my half-sister. I pulled only the relevant parts. What I was thinking when I thought my dad could pay for the entire wedding was, does Dad hate his family to the point where he could pay for everything just for them not to be there? I wasn't actually suggesting he pay for everything. That's stupid. Looks like a lot of you are wondering if my half-sister knew what happened between my dad and his family. She knows that they hurt him badly and has never forgiven them, but not the specifics of how they had hurt him. She knew the cheating part, but not the family lied to him for years part. Apparently, that's not something her mom or my dad's family discussed with her. Your sister is in a tough spot because she didn't think things through. That's on her. She fooled around and found out. Don't recommend your dad to fund the whole thing because weddings are expensive, and that's not your money to offer suggestions with. Your half-sister is already an a-hole. Your dad doesn't need another dumb a-hole making plans with his money while disregarding his feelings. Stay out of it. Her wedding is none of your business. Let your dad decide if he wants to pull out funding or if he'll fund and decide not to attend. Don't believe whatever his ex or your half-sister say about the other side being uninvited. They pull this BS now. They can ambush your dad with his relatives during the wedding day. Not sure if you saw OP's edit, but the half-sister was never told the exact reason for why the uncle plus grandparents are estranged. She knows the cheating, but not the family lied to him for years part, because neither her mom nor her dad or their families would discuss with her. Not saying this means she is not the a-hole, but she also did not have all the information when making her decisions, which makes those around her a wee bit of an a-hole for not telling her. Even from what OP said in the edit, I don't think it is solidly clear if she knows the cheating was with the uncle or if she just thinks it was her mom cheated and the uncle/grandparents supported her mom over her dad. Or maybe she knows that her mom cheated with her uncle but doesn't really know about how the grandparents play into this since she doesn't know about the years of lying. Again, not saying she wasn't an a-hole, just that I have a bit more empathy for her because this seems like some vital information was/is missing, when literally all of her family except her knew the full truth all along. Not a-hole, your dad has been so disrespected in this mess. If I were him, I would pull funding of the entire clown show. Let the circus die the premature death it is destined for. Keep supporting your dad. Good luck. Right, I feel like he should pull out funding and just go low contact with his eldest kid. She's an adult who will have her own nuclear family soon. She's not his problem now. Now for the second update. So my half-sister came over Sunday and talked to my dad. Basically, she made a decision to have the wedding without her extended family and pay for the half of the wedding by herself and her fiancé. She sort of figured that her mom would pull her money out for making that decision. Dad seems to be much happier about it. I saw her crying a lot and my dad hugging her. Not sure on what happened exactly, but I'm guessing she apologized, and he accepted it. She stayed with us during the weekend and her mom came by. Mom and dad wouldn't let her in, so my half-sister and her mother talked outside for a bit. I guess it started off well, but then I heard shouting from outside. So when I came downstairs, both of them were screaming at each other. My dad calmly walked out and told my half-sister to go on in. He talked to her calmly while she went back and forth from screaming and crying. Then a car came by and a man stepped out. He walked towards my dad and held out his hand, but Dad didn't take it. He sort of looked like my dad, but shorter and with longer hair, so I guess that he was my uncle. He tried to talk to my dad, but my dad pretty much ignored him. I went to my brothers and told them what was happening, and they immediately walked down and outside. They told me to stay inside, so I continued to stare out the window. My brothers just stood on the balcony. The new man said hi to them, but they didn't respond. Anyway, my dad spoke a bit with his ex-wife for a while and came back inside with my brothers. His ex-wife was glaring at my dad for a bit before going back to her car with a guy. When my brothers sat down, I asked if that was my uncle, and the oldest one nodded. Apparently, my two older brothers met my uncle purely by accident before. Things were smooth that night. My half-sister's fiancé came by and we all had a nice dinner. My mom and my sisters went away to plan the wedding since her mother is not joining in anymore. My brothers, my dad, me, and the fiancé just talked about stuff until we heard lots of honking right outside. We went to check it out and my uncle was back with my dad's ex-wife. My dad told my mom to call the cops while he tried to handle the situation. My brothers, my dad, and my half-sister's fiancé went out. There was some yelling and screaming, but then the cops came and they went away. So for the time being, my half-sister will be staying with us. I thought all was done until I got a text from my dad's ex after school yesterday. She asked if I could help her with something. I just blocked her number, but she then texted me on another number. I'm pretty sure my parents and brothers would say block her again, but there is nothing stopping her from using another phone numbers to bug me. Not sure what I can help her with anyway. Don't block, just ignore. This will allow your family to collect information to file for a protection order against the ex. This is a key and important suggestion. She is escalating, and legal action will likely be required at some point. Do not engage with her, but save the texts and any voicemails for evidence. Definitely, it can be used as evidence in case any legal action needs to be taken. Don't engage, just give her an opportunity to incriminate herself and show your father everything. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my sister-in-law live with us because I don't trust her, even though she's homeless? So my wife, 29 female, and I, 41 male, have been together for 5 years, married for 2. Everything has been great between us, except for one issue. Her sister, Megan, 26 female. Megan has always been a bit of a mess. Job hopping, partying, dating sketchy guys, and making terrible life decisions. Despite all of this, my wife always goes out of her way to help her, which I guess is understandable since they're close. A couple months ago, Megan got evicted from her apartment because she stopped paying rent. She claims it's because her ex-boyfriend stole money from her. She has nowhere to go and no savings. My wife came to me and said we should let Megan stay with us for a little while until she gets back on her feet. I immediately said no. Here's why. 1. Megan has stolen from us before. It was small stuff, random things like cash from my wallet or expensive liquor from our cabinet, but it's the principle. When we confronted her, she downplayed it and said she was just borrowing. 2. I don't trust her around our home. She's messy, careless, and honestly a bit of a liar. She's crashed her car multiple times, has had multiple landlords say she trashed their apartments, and I don't need that kind of stress in our house. We've worked hard to have a nice, peaceful home. 3. I know for a fact that if she moves in, she'll never leave. Megan is always looking for an easy way out, and I'm not willing to have a freeloader under my roof, especially one who has proven she can't be trusted. We'd be stuck with her forever. When I explained all of this to my wife, she got really upset. She said Megan had nowhere else to go and that she couldn't let her own sister be homeless. I told her Megan had other options. She could move in with her parents or, find a stable job. But my wife insists that she needs to stay with us because it's closer to her work and Megan doesn't get along with her parents. I told my wife that Megan could maybe stay for a weekend or something short, but absolutely no long-term arrangement. My wife then accused me of being heartless and not caring about her family, which isn't true. I just don't want to deal with Megan's irresponsibility. We got into a huge fight about it, and now my wife is giving me the silent treatment. Meanwhile, Megan has been couch surfing and still hasn't found a permanent place, so the pressure is building. I'm holding my ground, but now both my wife and her family are calling me an a-hole for letting Megan suffer when we have a spare room that could easily accommodate her. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my sister-in-law move in, even though she's homeless? Now for the top comments before reading the mini update. Once she moves in, you'll never get her out. She can go live with her parents if it's that dire of a situation. Obviously, there's a reason they don't want her either. Exactly. Go to the roommate sub and read horror stories of letting friends/families/coworkers come stay. I know a lot of people will say you're the a-hole, but seriously, wouldn't do it. You are being very realistic. The last point of your list is the worst. There is no exit plan. Press your wife on that. What is a little while? What is the plan for getting back on her feet? What happens if she does not stick to the plan? She won't. What is going to be different 6 months from now? Fair warning. Your wife is willing to bend over backwards for a thief and has zero respect for your concerns. Don't be surprised if the sister ends up precipitating the death of your relationship. If you take my advice and let the thieving do the legwork for you, will your wife take your side or her sister's? If she's caught stealing like she was before, my wife will take my side. She has a good head on her shoulders and is not controlled by her feelings. I have confidence that in a situation like you mentioned, cool heads will prevail from her, and her sister would be asked to leave. Mini update. My wife read through a lot of these comments after me and her had a chat. I think with a couple people's comments, she can really understand where I'm coming from and view this outside of it just being her sister. Thanks, Reddit.